Hello players and GMs, I am Reese and welcome to another video by Jetpack7. Before we get started with this week's video, I just want to remind you all to please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Every single click makes a huge difference for our channel in the algorithmic nonsense of YouTube, so every little click really does count. So thank you all so very much ahead of time for your help. This week, there was another big announcement by Wizards of the Coast. The next book that Wizards of the Coast will be releasing is Candlekeep Mysteries. I personally am super duper excited for this book to come out. It looks like it's going to be a really awesome addition to the 5e library. And so, because I was so excited, I decided to look into it as deeply as possible and figure out what we know. So for this video, I am just going to go into all of the deepest details of the book that we have discovered so far, from interviews from different authors that have contributed to the book, or Chris Perkins himself. Very little information is out there right now, but here is what we know so far. So obviously the book is called Candlekeep Mysteries. It is based around the library slash fortress of Candlekeep, which is based in Faerun. So this will be another source book for Faerun. All in all, there are going to be 17 different adventures, all of them mystery themed, and they're all going to be one-shots. So even though this is going to be an anthology, much like Tales from the Yawning Portal, this one's actually going to be specifically one-shots. So Tales from the Yawning Portal has some adventures that are supposed to last like several sessions. This one is specifically designed so that these adventures last one session. I'd imagine some of them could be stretched out, but otherwise they are designed for 2 to 4 hours of gameplay each. Like I said before, each of the adventures is mystery themed. Chris Perkins even admitted in a press interview that they might be kind of like Scooby-Doo inspired, Scooby-Doo-esque. I'm not exactly sure what he means by that, but that is just something that he said in an interview. The adventures will range from levels 1 to 16, and from the interviews that I'm seeing, there will be adventures that are more combat focused and ones that are more intrigue, roleplay, narrative focused instead. So even though some of them might have a recommended level, it's possible that you can play it with lower or higher levels since they don't have as much combat involved. Every single adventure will center around a book that the players can find in Candlekeep. So even though it is based in Candlekeep, the specific library in Faerun, if you have any kind of world that has a library in it, then any of these books could be placed there. As far as I can tell, there's only a few of these adventures that will actually take place within the library itself. Included in the book will be a map of Candlekeep, or at least the mapped out parts of it. Candlekeep is kind of this mysterious, magical library fortress that exists in Faerun. The only way to gain entrance is to bring in a new book that they don't have. So I'm not sure exactly what the hook will be for that one. I guess your characters will have to bring in a book that they don't have. I'm not entirely sure. But they've got an awesome writing team for this one. They've got several different writers contributing adventures. Some of them are very recognizable names. Some of them are people that I haven't really heard of before, but a couple of them I've seen on previous releases from Dungeons & Dragons. Obviously, Chris Perkins is involved as well. But there's actually been some interviews with some of the writers talking about the adventures that they wrote and kind of giving their perspective on the adventure. So I wanted to look at those interviews because I feel like those will give us a pretty good taste of what exactly these adventures are going to look like, what the exact kind of flavor is that they're going for in these, because all the information we have so far is that they're mystery themed and that there might be Scooby-Doo-esque nature to it. I'm not really sure. 3 of the authors who have been interviewed are Jennifer Kretschmer, Taimur Rahman, and Amy Vorpal, each of whom have a very different background in D&D writing and comedy and performing and stuff like that. Each of them have been interviewed by various people and go into kind of the details of what their dungeons entail, or at least what they can tell us before the release of the actual book. So I'm going to go into some details about those, and it might give us a good insight into what this book is really going to look like. So the first interview is with Jennifer Kretschmer. Her adventure is called Canopic Being, so that's each adventure is named after the title of the book that you find. It's based in the Tashlar city of Tashlua, I think is how you say that, Tashlua. I'm not entirely sure. Apparently that is a setting that hasn't been really brought back in several editions, so Jennifer kind of went back to a previous setting. The idea behind this book, behind this mystery adventure, is that there's been kind of a spree of mysterious and fishy organ transplants. Apparently this adventure incorporates some sort of demi-plane. It's more of a dungeon crawler themed adventure as well, so my guess is that you'll probably get sent to another plane of existence, some sort of demi-plane, and that is the dungeon that you'll be sent through to try and find out what's going on with these organ transplants. This is the dungeon that you might have heard people talking about that incorporates incorporates ramps and some magical elevators to kind of make it a wheelchair accessible dungeon so that you can play adventures in a wheelchair. I know there was a really cool thing that was released a while ago that was called the Battle Wheelchair, I think is what it was called, the War Wheelchair, I don't remember, but that's the kind of stuff that you can bring specifically into this dungeon. So that's Canopic Being. I don't know the recommended levels for any of these. You could probably make some guesses based on the content that we've seen so far, but it's anybody's guess really at this point. The next one is called Zekrins Zekranz, I'm not sure, Zekrins Zephirian Tome. And this one's by Taimur Rahman. From what I'm reading on this one, it is an in-depth look at real-life religion and kind of the mythos and mythology behind jinn and genies. And so there's kind of a big emphasis on that in this particular adventure. The idea is that you happen upon a genie trapped inside one of the books. And to free that genie, he offers you a wish spell. So I guess if you free him, then he'll grant you a wish spell. Alternatively, there's also an option that you can befriend this genie and then have him along in your party as like a companion. A fun little quote that I saw at the end, just kind of to give you a peek into their sense of humor, in reference to befriending the genie at the end, the possibility of befriending the genie at the end. Taimur said, because adventures are cool, piles of gold are fun, but, and this is silly, it's the friends you made along the way, right? So it might have some silliness involved, might have some quirkiness to it, but if he's offering you, if this genie's offering you a wish spell, then this seems like it might be one of the relatively higher level ones. Who knows? But again, who needs a wish spell when you can make a friend for life? And the last one is called Candlekeep Deconstruction, spelled as you can see, by Amy Vorpal. This one is one of the adventures that actually takes place in Candlekeep itself. It's supposed to be smack dab right in the middle of the book. It apparently is very silly, very quirky and wacky. Apparently it just has this way about it that makes you kind of questioning what the hell you just played through. Chris Perkins described it as a bit of a palate cleanser for the whole thing. So apparently this one kind of stands out amongst them as maybe a little bit more zany than the rest. The idea behind this one is that a stolen book ends up leading you to a tower in Candlekeep that is more than it appears. I don't really know anything else about it. I don't know what the adventure is going to look like, but there are a few new things that Amy Vorpal tried to include in here, including a construct critter thing called a skitter widget, and apparently they can have babies called kitty widgets, and she promises that they are very, very cute. So we're gonna have cute little construct baby critters roaming around Candlekeep, I suppose. Just as a peek into Amy's sense of humor, when she brought this to Chris Perkins, she was surprised by the level of detail that he used to edit and put notes in her story, and she was rather disappointed that he combed through it word by word, because apparently she had tried to sneak an NPC into the story named Dog Nuts. So that's just a small peek into her sense of humor, and likely something that'll kind of pervade throughout that entire adventure. So yeah, that's all the information that I really have about it so far. The book is supposed to release on March 16th. I put all the links to several of the interviews and the articles that I read through in the description below if you want to get a more in-depth look and really hear the writer's words shine through a little bit better than I can put it. There is also an alternative cover that you can pre-order as well, so do check out those links. The link to actually buy the book is in the description as well, so do check that out. That's all the information I have right now, but hopefully if there are any more big updates, I can make another video about that. Otherwise, I'll definitely be getting my hands on it and then doing a full first look video as well. But that's all I got for right now. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. I look forward to making another video for you guys soon, but until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you around.